on Monday's press conference, Andy Reid was kind of pressed on this issue. He's been pressed on this issue for the past couple weeks, really, on if he's going to sit some starters. And he didn't commit on what specific starters he was going to sit, but he said that he's leaning towards sitting starters. So, Mark, I'm curious to what your point of view is on sitting starters for Week 17. Like the Chiefs are in this situation right now. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. I can see it from both sides. And a couple weeks ago, when the media was asking him about it, he's like, "Yeah, we're trying to beat the Falcons. You know, that's going to be the Andy Reid answer." So
Hmm.
he's going to beat the Falcons, and then he's going to talk about it, and then even then, he might not talk about it. So
Right.
yeah, I think that sitting the starters. I mean, if especially if somebody's dinged up, they're going to be sitting. There's no question about that. So it just kind of comes down to now your guys that are pretty much healthy for the most part. Everybody's a little bit nicked up this time of the year. Nobody's exactly 100%, but
Hmm.
when you got guys like Mahomes who you don't want to get hurt, but you know they're close to throwing 5,000 yards on the season. You know he
Yeah.
wants to get that. I don't know if he has that bonus in his contract. Not that he needs the money or anything,
Right.
but you know, a 5,000 yard season looks really nice on the overall resume for his NFL career. How many seasons he can throw for 5,000 yards? I know it's only been done. Actually, I don't know if it one person's done. I think maybe Breeze has done it. I didn't look
Mm,
that set up before I got on,
no, I
but
don't know off the top of my head.
so he could be in very elite company, being you know one of maybe a couple quarterbacks to throw over 5,000 yards in
Yeah.
multiple seasons. Travis Kelsey, of course, going. He already broke the record for most yards by a tight end in a season last week, so that's one reason why you might actually sit him this week. But he is in the conversation for the NFL receiving yards leader, which has never been done by a tight end, and I know
Hmm.
he would be pretty excited to get that. People have been talking about him possibly being an offensive player of the year category if he does get that. So that would be kind of cool to have on his resume as well.
I agree. And looking at the Travis Kelsey situation, he's down 44 yards to well, I need 44 yards to tie, I should say, to Stephon Diggs. Actually, my math is completely wrong. He needs 43 to tie, 44 to beat Stephon Diggs. That's if Stephon Diggs doesn't play next week, which
Yeah.
it's looking like that the Bills are probably going to play their starters. They're playing the Dolphins, and that's an important game for really both teams. If the Dolphins win, they're in. If the Bills are fighting for that number 2 seed. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the AFC playoffs. And going back to that Bills and Dolphins game, Dolphins lose, Colts win, the Colts get in. So
Yep.
it's it's a bunch of interesting scenarios like that. But with the Bills probably not sitting their starters, Travis Kelsey more than likely being sit. It's kind of a shame that we won't get to see that Travis Kelsey get to haul in that mark of leading the league in receiving yards. But do you think that's even something that crosses Andy Reid's mind? I know Travis Kelsey's a very selfless guy. Even when he broke the record, he was like, "Hey, the biggest record I'm excited about is 14-1 right now." And
Hmm.
he was very selfless in his post-game press conference about breaking that single season receiving yards record for a tight end. I can't imagine that he's going to be a guy that says, "Hey, I want to go out here and break this record." He is competitive, but I don't think that he's going to say, "Hey, I would forego this extra week of not getting hurt, getting some rest to try to lead the league in receiving yards."
Yeah, definitely. I think Reed might ask the players, you know, how they're feeling. I don't know if
Mhm.
it'll end up coming down to if the player says, "Hey, I want to play," he's going to play him. I think Reed will ultimately be the one. I guess Andy Reid said that he was going to talk to Veach about it and talk
Mhm.
to a couple other people. So I think it'll be a collective effort and who will start and sit. I don't think Kelsey would go ahead and say, "Hey, play me today." He sat in what was it, week 17, Mahomes' rookie year, I guess it was.
Yep. 2018,
Um, there was a few,
2017.
yeah, 2017. Yeah, a few
Mhm.
guys sat that week. It was a different circumstance.
Yeah.
They weren't the one seed at that point. They were locked in as the four
The
seed or
4.
whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I think Kelsey will be fine with resting if that's what the coaches decide, and he'll be ready to go for the playoffs.
Yep, and these guys will get almost 3 weeks of rest. Now we say rest, so it's not like they're sitting on their couches all week. This they're still practicing, still, performing like top athletes in their sport, but they're
Yeah.
not playing in these games that are very high contact, very physical, higher risk for injury, especially in games than there is in practice. So that's encouraging. The Chiefs could play on January 16th or 17th. And from the Falcons game to those dates, it's about 20 to 21 days. So that's very exciting for if you're a Chiefs fan, because they're dealing with injuries. They're dealing with, the
Oh
Mitchell
yeah.
Schwartz injury. We don't know what's going on there. Maybe these extra 3 weeks can help him come back for the playoffs. That'd be a great surprise. That'd be a
Oh yeah.
great New Year's Eve present. I don't know if those are a real thing, but having a New Year's Eve present would be a very nice thing.
I'm open
And
to it.
Oh yeah, especially if it's Mitchell Schwartz. Then you've got, the guys on the defensive side of the ball. All three linebackers are hurt. Anthony Hitchens is dealing with the COVID. He was placed on the list because of a close contact, but he should more than likely be back. But it'll be interesting to see how all these injuries shape out and shape up. And that was another guy that Andy Reid said he was going to talk to is Rick Burkholder, the
Mhm.
sports medicine VP of sports medicine guy. Make sure all these guys are getting healthy, and if he thinks, hey, this guy would probably benefit from an extra week of rest, Andy Reid more than likely is going to hold him out.